So before I ask you any questions, I would love for you all to introduce yourselves. You know how we do the drill, so.
Hello everyone, I'm Shayna Davis and I am the founder of Executive Signals Group. We are an executive visibility and external communications firm, and companies hire us when their leaders are becoming increasingly visible to the outside world, whether that be the media, investors, customers, and we help make sure that they are actually representing the company with trust and credibility. And quite often, we're working with leaders that are in roles that are traditionally not public facing, like your technical leaders and the people that are often behind the scenes, and those roles are now changing. And what ends up happening is that when they are great at building internally and leading internally, but they now have to engage externally, there's usually a competency gap, and we help to close that gap.
Hi, I am Dr. Tamara Mai, and I am founder of Mai Consulting, and I help founders and service providers in various industries to build businesses that sustain their impact, their profit, and their well-being. And we leverage their legitimacy that comes from their body of work and expertise to make a bigger difference in the world and driving their client engagement, retention, and lifetime value from their impact.
Hello, I'm Bianca Gignac, and I'm the founder of Italian Fix, and we help people travel Italy beautifully. I founded a travel company 15 years ago as I was balancing my toddler on my knee, and my biggest goal was just how can I drop this kid off at kindergarten and pick her up every day without anyone else telling me what to do with my time and where I gotta be. So that was my jump into entrepreneurship, and after 15 years of building it, I can say that I have a self-managed company now. So I am building my next stage, which is a capital company that helps women. It really democratizes investing for women, and we are building with my business partner, Amelia Misenheimer. And I met her in this group, and we are building a capital company and buying residential real estate group buys. So that's my next phase.
Amazing. So the reason I wanted to share, especially it's perfect in right after the exercise that you all did, is that I want you to see how, and I think you already know this, but I'm just going to say it out loud, multi-dimensional, multifaceted, multi-hyphenate women that you are. You have various skills, but also gifts and the ability to create different levels of impact through through your body of work. That's what I really want to discuss, because these amazing women have 3 really different career paths, business paths, life paths, and I want to talk about that. So let's just start with you, Shayna. When you think about being a multi-hyphenate, what does that mean to you?
You kind of spoke about it a little bit earlier when you were saying, it's not about what someone else's perception of you is. It's more about being so clear and confident about who you are and giving yourself permission that you don't have to just be one thing. I really struggled I felt like I was showing up siloed. In one area of my life, I was showing up as the ministry leader. In one area of my life, I was showing up as the business person. And what I recognize is that everywhere you go, there you are. And it was so important that I recognize that when I show up, I bring all of me to the table. When you hire me, you get all of me, and you actually want all of me. Because if I leave one part of me at home, or I try to shrink one part of myself to show up more expansive in another area, then I'm actually not helping you. And I can't be the answer that you need me to be if I don't pull on what makes me. And there's so many different facets to what makes me me.
I am naturally curious, and I love to learn, and I initially, I think, hit a lot of questions and walls when people are like, well, how does that random job that you have connect to this career. It doesn't seem like you're on a path. And for me, it was so obvious. I was like, well, I'm bringing away so much knowledge and skills that other people don't have because I've worked in retail and this and that. It's, all these different jobs. And so I had to explain to them how it helped me to step into seeing the forest and the trees, because I had been in different types of situations. I had seen different reactions and contexts, and now I think a lot of my reputation of being multi-hyphenate is anybody has a question about anything random, they're like, ask Tamara first. She probably knows. And usually I do. And it's just because I'm like, oh yeah, well I went on a rabbit hole Monday to learn about the California Landlord-Tenant Act and some nerdy hole, right? And I bring all of that to the work. And so what used to be a liability in a job interview has become one of my greatest strengths.
Multi-hyphenate to me is truly closing your eyes, going inside of yourself, not looking at anyone else, truly looking at yourself and going, what is my self-actualization? It's very expansive. It truly is moving up Maslow's hierarchy of needs and going, truly, what am I here to help people with? I've always, just oldest child, I guess, and I was like, I had this sense that when people hang around with me, I improve the quality of their life. So I started a travel company because it's really fun going to Italy for a week. And I was like, that's a small seed. What's a bigger idea? And again, it was just moving up a bigger vision, a more expansive vision. If I look around and try to compare myself on someone else's path, I shrink. Because I'm like, ooh, I should be farther along. But if I actually just go, no, Bianca, the very humble beginnings you came from, if you look from, and if you run your own race, and if you do your own thing, that is the only thing that matters. And that to me is like the true expansive idea of what you are.
Well, that's also, I love that you're bringing this up, and partly why I wanted, we're talking about thought leadership in the era of AI, but that doesn't mean that everything we build has to be tech related. In fact, the big opportunity is not in tech, or just as big, I'd rather say. It's building beautiful experiences. It's doing things belly to belly. It's analog experiences as well. So that's why the multi-dimension piece of it that we're talking about here, because sometimes we get so laser focused, we lose the opportunity of, well, everybody is zigging, I need to zag. And by the way, if you're building a tech company, I'm saying go girl, because I want more tech founders that are female, women of color being the tech founders as well, and the investors. But I also want to introduce to you the idea of thought leadership is not just about how you have to think about when the robots are in charge. It's who we have to be as humans. That's thought leadership. That's the thought leadership we really need. I think women are the best equipped to teach humans to be that. And so that's why I asked these three up here, because they have a mix of both. So let's actually talk about analog versus tech. What's your take on it? What are ways, Shayna, that you are implementing a more balanced view as we move into the AI era in your business, as well as maybe your personal life, whatever you feel will support them to think?
Yeah. One of the things that I have recognized in the world that we're in the world that we are going to continue to be in, is that as leaders, it's so important that we move from just being the operators in the business to being ambassadors of it. And you heard me say earlier that oftentimes a lot of the leaders that hire me are the ones that are not public facing, but they're now having to be. And one of the things that I have been experimenting with is being curious about what Tamara said, is the people that are used to not being belly to belly, will they be willing to get out from behind their computers, put on real clothes or put on pants at all, and come out and be belly to belly? And what the experiment has showed me is that they actually have been yearning for that. And it was a little bit of a shock to me. And so in my own life, I probably don't practice being belly to belly as much as I should, because I just really like being at home. And so I'm learning, to do that more. But the value of human presence is going up, not going down. And so all of us have to try to figure out, since number one, AI is actually replacing a lot of that execution layer, we're going to have to figure out, how do we be more analog? How do we be more ambassadors and representatives of our businesses and of the companies that we represent? Because that's how you make sure that you're not replaced. So I always look at, it's not about it's the wrong question to ask of, is AI going to replace my job? The question to ask is, how do I make sure that I'm continuing to evolve myself as the technology is evolving, so that I'm not replaced, I'm actually supportive in being the strategic mind inside and outside of the company to make sure that I'm always needed.
Yeah, I want to build on that. I think the way that we make decisions and make meaning is the human element. And in my work, we establish basically like experimental feedback loops. So I'm a data nerd, if you couldn't tell. But we collect information and we look at what the data are saying about the performance of our services, what client results are coming out of it, how our team is doing, and all of that can be tech, right? Doing the measurement, crunching the numbers, and producing dashboards of things that we can look at. But the meaning making is the human analog part, where it comes from authentic inclusion and collaboration. So we create what I call alliances of people in organizations, and we come together in a group and collaborate to look at the information and say, what does this actually mean for us? What is important here, and what decisions are we making about how we increase our client results, increase our engagement, increase our retention, make this world a better place? Because I think we can identify patterns very easily with AI and with tech, but driving that to a purpose and actually having that move you toward your intent, that is something that humans and a lot need to do.
Well, and Bianca, because I want to talk about how to also nourish yourself in a lot of ways, through travel, through beauty, through experiences. But what I want to touch on that Tamara and Shana spoke into is that people trust people. And relationships and business will still be done between humans, because it's the one thing we can touch and feel and go, is this real? Right? Are you a real person, or are you a clone of yourself? I don't trust clones, right? And it's cute because there's a race to create cloning of your persona. I am taking a stand on that. I feel so strongly that that's not the way to productize yourself. Give yourself productivity. Instead, use AI for all the other stuff, so that you have the energy to speak out of your mouth and write with your hands. Because if I see a clone teaching me on YouTube, you best believe I'm out. Yeah. I'm unfollowing. And here's the thing, I'm a buyer. It's not just this me being such a strategy leader that I'm ew, disgust from inside out. That's me, ew. It's really because I don't know who you are. You could be a dude in Slovenia in your basement pretending you're me. I don't know who you are or what you are, and that's already happening. So this idea of belly to belly and trust period, even if you're building a tech company, you need to be made available for the human interaction, and the conversation is the point. Yeah, I don't know how you were gonna answer this question, but I would love you to talk about like the room for beauty, travel, experiences, belonging, because that's the business you're in.
Yeah, I was starting to feel a little sorry for myself right around COVID. When we had to, cease operations. And that was a very scary time for me. I did almost lose my company. I'm very transparent about talking about that because I don't love everyone just talking about the highlight reel. Now we are in this age of AI, and I looked at my forward-facing brand, and I said, anything that looks too advanced on the technical side, I'm gonna remove from my website. So my suggestion is if you have an opportunity and you have a company that is already very by nature analog, travel, try to lean into that. So it's like, for example, I took the chatbot. We've had a chatbot on our site for 5 years. I took it off because I don't want that. I put a schedule link to my calendar and to, a team calendar. I outlined 5 things: how to show the consumer how I am different and how I am more human. Because actually, operationally, we were very human because we're a boutique. We serve under 200 clients a year. So I really wanted to lean into that. So if you have the opportunity, analog, like just curate and make it for like a cold lead, somebody who doesn't know you, like show your true self and like lean into that analog, because we are living in a world where people want that and crave it. So if you already have a company like that, make sure you tell people, right? Unlimited concierge, small experiences, like delight and beauty. You are trying to very much communicate this because, again, you are trying to stand out. It is a differentiator.
I was going to talk about this a little later with another panel, and I'm going to bring it up again, but this is kind of also what's sparking for me is the difference between using generative AI versus agentic AI to support your productivity. And I'm going to be clear in our stance, and this is kind of I consider generative AI digital, like it's not you, right? So the LLMs and whatnot, they can be used to do research and thought spar with you. I call it thought sparring. Like, I do thought spar with Claude a lot. I call her Claudette, actually. And Claudette and I will thought spar, but they are all my original thoughts. And this is my line between the real and the digital, or like, digital's real, don't get me wrong, but the analog versus the digital, I'd rather name it like that. I consider agentic AI to be the human, and I'm gonna, my agentic AI team is called Brandy, so brand I, so AI, the brand I, and I have humans still working for me who can discern, be belly to belly with our customers, be the ecosystem leaders of orchestrating, but these ideas of building agents to like clean up my inbox and give me a daily report around, what I should be focused on, for somebody who has ADHD, me, right? Late diagnosed, and yes, like really diagnosed, not just because it's sexy and markety to be like, I have ADHD. And I was like, no wonder I'm a hot mess, like, all the time. And those kinds of things that don't give me the space to write and whatnot, that's where I put agentic AI on the top, because agentic AI doesn't have perimenopause either. Like me. Okay? And so for that, or women, I've been hearing from a lot of women, these discussions are so important, including myself, my own resentment about like, I don't need that. I can do it. And it's like, well, it works different now. Like my brain and my energy levels are very different. So that's where I've tasked agentic AI to serve me, not the customer. Like that Bianca's bringing up, that's my point. I wanna reserve the touch points with the customers to feel like real. And then all the rest, internal machinations, and then my team adopting agentic AI to be able to make their job easier so they can be more available for customer support. I wanted to bring that up because I think it's a big question, like that's happening right now. Like, because it's hard to build a thought leadership brand with all that other stuff pulling at you. And then if you got kids and dogs or other animals like I do, then those are extra, right?